Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Displayline podcast. I'm your host, Ollie.
And I'm your other host, Joey.
And today I'm going to be interviewing Joey on his experience at Blackpool Airshow 2026. So, for once, I'm actually going to start this podcast off instead of immediately handing over to Joey. So, just before we start, do you want to give us a brief overview of what happened at Blackpool over the weekend?
So it was quite a fun weekend. It's one of the first times that I've gone both days, which actually made it feel a little bit more fresh because obviously I go to it every year and it kind of gets a bit boring. But to be able to go for both days kind of refreshed it a little bit. And I found my experience to be very, very fun.
So, before you actually say your rating, which will be at the end, obviously, of the podcast, where do you think this might sit on the overall rating? Obviously, don't say it, but what sort of air shows do you think this might fit in? Is it one of the lower end air shows, or is it maybe up high with things like Midlands and Farnborough?
I think it'll be like around about somewhere near everyone else. Like, I'm not going to say specific airshow names because that will give you a good idea of the rating.
Yeah,
Obviously, we're not gonna be looking at every other rating as we're doing this to get a gauge of where it should rank. I'm just gonna be ranking it out of 10 at the end based on how I feel at the time. So our ratings are always gonna be a little bit, skew, if I think is the right word.
a bit
Like, we're
biased.
not we're not comparing it directly to other air shows. We're just going off of the vibes we had at the time. But I think it'll be, like, around everywhere else, in sort of bang in the middle.
Okay, and last thing before we start the ratings. Unfortunately, it was quite a backlit show, but you still got some quite good photos, and all of his photos will be up on his Instagram, Joey Price, obviously, and TikTok as well. Don't forget the TikTok. And some of them will also be on our Displayline photography account as well, as we rotate every 4 days, me, Alfie, Joey, and Nathan with all our photos. So keep a watch out for Joey's photos. I think today he posted Rich Goodwin in the pit special.
Yeah.
Yeah, so on time of recording, which is what, Friday, I think it is today. So let's get started with your ratings. So we have the Army Red Devils. Now, I saw these at Farnborough a few weeks ago, and now you've seen them at Blackpool. And you said that it was actually quite a good display.
So I always thought parachute displays, as cool as they are, they're nowhere near the levels of the flying displays. I mean, I guess they technically are flying, but they're nowhere near the levels of like the Typhoon or the MiG-17. But on Saturday, I did find it to be quite a lot better than every other time I've seen parachute display teams. Maybe it was because of the atmosphere at the air show. There was so many people there, and since it was the first display of the air show, and it was right in front of everyone was cheering. Like, there were people whistling, like that finger whistle they do, and it's like
Yeah.
hurts your ears. There were people doing that as they were landing, and the vibes were just really high, which is why I'm probably gonna give it. I can't actually remember what I gave any of the other parachute display teams, but I am gonna give this one an 8.25 because as far as parachute displays go, I think it was actually really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess yeah, with parachute, I think I gave them like what, a 7, I think. So not too far off my rating. I'm just like parachutes just aren't my sort of thing. I don't, like I said last week, I don't know why you'd throw yourself out of a perfectly working aeroplane. It's really not something that I'm gonna do unless, I don't know, we get like sponsored skydiving or something like that. Me and Joey throw ourselves out of a plane that's completely fine. But yeah, I mean, it just hurts your neck looking up when you're just like that. And like they're just like you have a photo where it was like basically directly above you, a guy came over or whatever.
Yeah,
So
I will
it's like,
say I got some of my best pictures of them, which is probably why I'm a bit more biased to give them a higher rating because my favorite picture so far, I've not actually edited all of them yet. I've nearly edited them all. My favorite picture so far of the entire show is of the Red Devils. So I am going to be a little bit biased towards that, but they are just a lot easier to get pictures of once they're in front of you because they're not moving quick. It's easy to focus on them because they are bright red and they got a big trail of smoke coming from behind them,
well,
so you
yeah,
can easily
exactly.
track them down.
And did they want to
So
have like a special
bit
smoke or
bit
something? It
biased.
had like 10 different smoke pods on like one
Oh,
guy or
yeah.
whatever.
He had, like, a trail of, like he had, like, a string attached to him of, like, 8 different smoke pods on it, and he was just flying about doing
Yeah,
turns and stuff.
I did
It was
see that
actually really
photo.
good.
Yeah.
But
So
as
yeah,
far as, like I said, parachutes, it was probably the best parachute display I've seen.
Yeah, because we saw them last year at Blackpool in 2025, and I mean, it was very blustery, it was very blowy. They couldn't really do much, I believe. It was kind of just a very get them on the ground display. So, I mean, definitely better this year for your experience. I mean, it's always going to be slightly different at every different air show. Obviously, it'd be slightly different from Farnborough because they didn't have the 8 boot smoke thing at Farnborough or whatever. So yeah, it seems like quite a good display. But we move on to the RAF Typhoon. Obviously, that's one of your personal favourites, and I know your dad loves the Typhoon as well.
Yeah, the Typhoon is pretty much a family favorite. It's just an incredible aircraft. It's loud, it's quick, it's just pure power coming out of those two engines. The display, very, very good display. He was rolling that thing around, he was doing loops and all sorts. Um, Not as easy to get pictures of, simply because it was flying very quick and I wasn't actually at the front. So focusing it whilst it's in between people's heads wasn't very easy. You might have noticed that some of my pictures that I posted or are on the display line thing aren't perfectly in focus, but I felt that they were still more than good enough just in the rest of the image to post anyway. And day two, I think I got a little bit better with focusing it because I was closer to the front.
Yeah,
Day
that's why
two
you
was
get there at like
much more
7:30 in the morning
interesting.
and just sit in the front for hours, like
Yeah,
sleeping or whatever, just so you can get that. That's what my family does. We get there like an hour before the gates even open, stand in the queue, whatever, go on like geometry dash or something in the queue or something, and then go, and that's what we do at like Little Cranston. At Farnborough, we were like there like really early. Obviously, I got a front spot, as everyone knows. So yeah, it's definitely worth getting up early for some of these air shows. I know at Shuttleworth we almost didn't get a front spot. I had to sort of squeeze in between two people just so I had a chair, and obviously my family sat behind me. So we definitely know for next time we go to Shuttleworth to go there early. And obviously with mine and Joey's UK airshow tour coming up within the next few years, I will be dragging him out of the house at like 7:30 every morning for it. So
yeah, I'm totally looking forward to that. I will have to get up earlier for Southport though, um, purely because well, I'll talk more about this later, but things sell out pretty quick. Um, so I will have to go to Southport a little bit earlier. And just for a front seat as well, it's definitely worth it. But as
yeah,
for the Typhoon, it's got to be a 9.75. I felt like trying to rate it, accounting for the fact that I didn't get the best view of it, but I don't think the conditions were actually that great for it. It was way too sunny on the first day and then way too cloudy on the second day. It kind of made it a bit harder to see or get pictures of, but I mean, 9.75
yeah.
just is an all round incredible display.
Well, I assume that's probably going to be the highest rated one of Blackpool, so I doubt there's going to be a 10 out of 10 display, which is quite unfortunate, unless, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, Rich Goodwin or someone like that had a 10 out of 10 display, but obviously at Farnborough there was three, which is going to be quite hard to beat. You had the F-35, the UAE team, and the Italian Typhoon, and obviously Blackpool isn't sort of on the scale of Farnborough, because Farnborough is an international air show, where the Blackpool is a council-run air show, obviously, like any was it Seafront, sorry, airshow is. Eastbourne, Southport, Blackpool, obviously Bournemouth when that was a thing, they're all council runs. So just not quite on the level, but obviously you get all the RAF stuff like the Typhoon, which did actually fly, and my mum told me off for dissing the RAF last week. So unfortunately, I will not be able to spread my opinions on the RAF and in any negative way anymore. Unfortunately, I will not be able to give any criticism towards any RAF or anyone in that matter, I suppose.
Yeah, the RAF's great. Definitely highly everyone. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
It's
next
such
up,
a good display even when you don't turn up.
yeah, well, exactly. Anyway, next up, BBMF. Did they all fly, or did was the crosswind just like point one of a knot too high? Oh, sorry, I can't criticize that. No, sorry, yeah, no, obviously,
You can't criticize them,
yeah,
yeah. No, I was 45 out of 10,
yeah.
honestly, can't
Oh,
criticize the
exactly.
best one.
The highest score
It was
ever.
it was pretty good. I was a bit underwhelmed, but maybe that's just because I I believe it didn't actually follow the order that it was supposed to, but I believe it was straight after the typhoon. Can't remember
I don't know.
exactly,
I'm just going on
which
whatever
made it a
order
bit
I've got on
underwhelming.
here. So yeah,
Um, Made it a bit underwhelming, seeing something so loud and quick followed by the Dakota and a Spitfire and a Hurricane. It's a bit bit of a step down
It is a
in
bit.
excitement. But the display was fine. Bit hard to get pictures of, in my opinion. Um, just because the conditions were not great for it.
Yeah, but that's just Blackpool, isn't it?
Especially
Because
with it
it's a
being
backlit
so
air show.
backlit. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So
side lit, backlit.
Southport, yeah. This is why if
Yeah.
there's when we do our UK air show, so obviously Blackpool will be sort of one on the list. But if there's things like Shuttleworth Military Air Show, which I'll be going to, I'd probably try and convince Joey to take that over Blackpool just because of the lighting conditions, and it just makes for more of an enjoyable show if you can actually see the aircraft and not just a black silhouette moving through the sky.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good display. It was pretty much the most you can do with BBMF. It's the usual BBMF display. Um, I think just display all round, maybe a 7, I wanna say. Maybe just lower than that, but we'll say a 7. Um, I'm trying to rate it not accounting for the fact that the conditions were not great. Um, but it was a pretty good display, for what you can do with those old aircraft, and you learn a lot of cool facts, from the
Yeah.
commentators,
Which was Joe
um,
McGrath, which is
the
actually the same
sound.
guy
Yeah,
from Farnborough. Joe McGrath was there last year as well. I think it's like Joe Air shows. Obviously, I messaged him last year at Blackpool, saying, "Oh yeah, can you give a shout to me and Joey and stuff?" So he got a shout out from him. And like I said, he was also at Farnborough with Adam from Plains TV. I say from Plains TV, he's just like a videographer and stuff, but that's just where a lot of people will know him from. So, yeah, it's I guess not a terrible display, 7 out of 10. I need to see the Dakota. I haven't seen it in years because every time it breaks down. Oh, sorry, no, I can't say that. Sorry. It's the air show's
every
fault.
time it's
It's
busy.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
every time it's
exactly,
busy.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Anyway,
It's a
moving
pretty
on.
cool one.
It is
Yeah,
a
it's
nice
got no
livery.
door.
Well,
I
yeah.
don't know what they do
That.
when it's raining.
Well, I don't know. Maybe ask them.
Yeah, I'll ask them next time I see
Yeah.
them. I'll just shout loud enough and
Yeah.
they might hear me.
Just
They
scream
got
them
no
down
door
a
to
bit.
cover the noise, so
Well,
I'll just
exactly.
scream in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
door.
yeah. I assume the
Yeah.
propellers would be quite loud though, right?
Nah, they'd be fine. They'll
Yeah,
hear
yeah,
me
yeah.
if I shout loud enough.
Yeah. Anyway, talking of loud, the Harvard. Now, was that David Petters in the Harvard, or was that a completely different Harvard display?
It was not David Petters. I can't actually remember who it was. If I remember to message you who it is, it might be on the screen now. If you forget, who cares? You can Google it if you want. Um,
In it,
it was not David Petters.
we'll get a picture of
Um,
it up on the screen or something instead of the name if you've edited them by then.
yeah, I have got one good picture of it that so far edited that I will send you. Um, all round, I don't think a backlit air show works well for this Harvard
Was it the yellow
because the
with
top
like
of it
green
is
or
dark.
whatever? It was
I
like
know that the bottom of
dark
it was
camo.
bright yellow and the top
Yeah,
of it was
and it's like
dark
dark
camo.
camo. Yeah,
Um, backlit does not work for this thing, I will say.
it doesn't.
Um,
Yeah,
it definitely puts it down a lot because you just couldn't really make out any
it's just a
detail in the
black
aircraft
silhouette. Yeah,
whatsoever. It's just a black silhouette flying around, and occasionally, as it's rolling upside down, you get a glance of bright yellow.
yeah.
Uh, I think the best picture I have is the entire bottom of the aircraft just being all yellow. That's the best picture I have of it. I was very I was expecting a lot more from it. I guess I don't know what I can expect from it. It's an old aircraft, but I feel like there could have been more done with it. Definitely the lighting conditions didn't help it at all.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
gonna give it I'm gonna give it a 5.5 just because it had more potential, in my opinion,
If you're
and
wondering
it
what I'm
did
doing
look
on my
old and
phone, by the
stuff.
way, obviously you can see me typing. I'm just putting, just to make it easier while editing the podcast, I'm just noting down all of Joey's answers so that I know, if I might miss it or something and we move on to the next one, I can just put it, on the ratings. It just makes my life 10 times easier than having to listen through the entire podcast about 3 times trying to find where all of these answers are. Because I swear, I don't even know if I said a Chinook rating at Farnborough. I just put on what I thought at the time of editing because I listened to it like 3 times and I just didn't hear a review or like a rating of it. So I'm just noting them all down here just so we know that we haven't missed any and I can just take them here. Yeah, but the Harvard's quite a loud aircraft. It's got quite a noisy radial engine. It's the same with like the Stearmans and stuff, which we'll get onto, I believe, near the end with the wing walkers. Now, sort of linking on to the aerobatic side of this, like air show, obviously, we have something that might be a little bit more extreme, if you know what I'm saying, with the extreme air flown by Steve Bakhtiari, or I don't know how you say it, Bakhtiari, I think it is. And he has a basically just black aircraft. So tell me how that was in pure backlit conditions.
Oh, it was awful to get pictures of, but the pictures that I did get that are good are really good because I got it maybe as it was like rolling and shining light onto it. Very good when you do get a good picture of it. The display is actually based at Blackpool Airport. I believe my mum sees him on Facebook all the time, just like posting videos of him doing aerobatics over Blackpool Airport. I've seen a few of them myself. If it's the
In it.
same guy, not actually sure. Haven't double checked that. Um, Actually was very, very excited about this display because I knew this aircraft is you can do a lot with it. I mean, I think it's like 400 degrees per second roll rate, something
That's
mental like
quite a
that,
lot, to be
and he
fair.
utilized all of that. I will say, very, very good display. It was basically imagine jet pits, but instead of having jet engines, his single propeller engine was more than enough.
In
He
it.
was doing like tail slides. He
Well, to
was
be fair, I think
doing
I think the
rolls.
engine on the jet pits is enough, but Rich was like, "Nah, need more power in it."
Yeah, need two more, but
In
make
it,
them
yeah,
jets.
literally, just like,
Um,
oh, and yeah, make them like explode every time you start them off, so fire like shoots out like a dragon every time they
Yeah, I
start.
want a Spitfire, but I can't afford
Yeah,
one. Make this one do it
yeah,
instead.
literally,
Um,
literally.
yeah, the Extreme Air, I was honestly quite impressed with the display. It had a lot of potential, and he sure used that potential. Um, I'm gonna give this a solid. I'm gonna give it a solid 8.5, maybe 8.75.
Not eight point
Um,
six seven.
felt no, not quite. It was a
That's
very, very solid
unfortunate.
display. The only major downside was the fact that the show was backlit, which meant getting pictures of an all black aircraft was near impossible unless you got a lucky
Yeah.
shot while you were rolling. But I did
So
get a few good.
obviously we have extreme air, which is quite extreme to me. Now we have a completely different sort of throwing an aircraft around, and some could say that it gyrates quite a lot with the auto gyro helicopter flown by gyro air displays. How was that?
I mean, it was your classic gyro display. Very, very well. Most of it was very, very slow paced, much closer to the crowd. They made sure you knew that in the commentary. They mentioned it about 12 times.
Oh, with like, oh
Um,
yeah, just let you know, this helicopter is allowed slightly closer. Oh yeah, I just wanted to let you guys, crowd, know, the helicopter is coming slightly closer
yeah,
because it's a helicopter. And if I haven't just
yeah, they
said the
made sure you
helicopter is
knew.
coming closer,
Yeah,
yeah,
it can come closer. And if Ollie didn't mention it, it can go
it
closer to the
can,
crowd. Um, it can.
it
It
can,
certainly was. It was the usual gyro display. Um, as good as usual. Very, very easy to get pictures of because it's moving slow and
yeah,
it's close. Especially with my lens, I'm pretty sure I was telling my mum at one point that one of my pictures you could see the dude's literal arm hair glowing
yeah,
in the
probably
sun.
because
Um, it. I love the little, well, I say little big red hand that he's got that he waves
he
near the
has
end
two
of
though.
it.
He got a green one though, didn't
Um,
he, this time as well?
I didn't see a green one, but he might have done.
I thought
I
I
wasn't
saw a
paying that
green
much
one. I don't know.
attention.
I saw a I think on like Instagram.
Oh no,
Um,
he had a red and a green glove, but then he's got the big
that's
red
what.
hand
Yeah,
that
well,
goes on
he's got
top
the
of
big
it.
red hand, and then he's got the green glove. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
He's got a green glove. It's the usual. Once again, don't remember what I gave this at Midlands. Going off vibes from this time. Gonna give it a 7.5. That well, 7.25. We'll go with
You
7.25.
can see his
It
gloves there. We can see a
yeah.
sort of outline of
It's got
gloves.
a green and a red look.
So, what
Presumably
did you rate that?
that's his aviation light. A 7.25 because it's much slower. There's not as much you can do with it, but it's a unique aircraft to see, and it's a lot easier to get pictures of than
Yeah.
some displays.
Although you do need to start going to non-backlit air shows because I think like that's going to be the bane of your existence. Midlands is top backside. Blackpool is top back. I don't know what
Yeah.
Southport's top back. I don't know what other air shows. I don't think you really go to any other air shows. So I mean,
Nah, I don't. I go to Riyadh when it's not cancelled.
yeah. Well, that to be fair, that's top. back, no, top, front, side. So that's not like a
Yeah.
terrible show. But yeah, Shuttleworth is the
Okay.
best because it is top and then front, but like it's top and then moves like that. So it's not like that the whole day. It's like that. And then obviously in the evening, the
Oh, yeah.
beautiful light. Obviously the crowd sat like probably not in the sun like here. The sun's obviously all the way back there, and obviously the planes like that. So obviously you get a beautiful glinting sunset. And obviously when I went, actually there was like storm clouds. There's like when those big storms were happening, and obviously I had some of those in the background. I said it in the podcast actually, where my mum was like, "Oh yeah, there's lightning," and there was lightning. So yeah,
Yeah.
I got some. I still haven't posted all of them. I've half of those. I have at least 50 photos still from Shuttleworth to post, and I still haven't edited over 100 photos from Farnborough. So I should probably get cracking.
Yeah, you've got quite a lot of pictures to post. I mean, I'm on the last display now with Blackpool in terms of editing, but posting, I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure I'm just about halfway through day one of actually posting.
yeah.
So I got plenty to post, and obviously I won't be posting all of my pictures on my Instagram. I post some exclusives on my TikTok, and some will only be posted on the display line photography account.
I
So
just
I'm
don't
trying to
post on my
mix it up a
TikTok. I
little
just
bit.
can't be bothered. I just can't be
Yeah,
bothered, bro. I
yeah,
just have
that's
too many.
fair.
Because the thing is, it's just like I'd have to post like 12 different videos on all the different displays. Cause I'm actually getting so much better at photography. I have about 208 photos from Farnborough. I think I had about 230 odd from Shuttleworth. And it's just like, I'm going to have to make like 50 videos dedicated to each display. And it's just like, that is long. That is just like because Instagram, I can just spam post them. I can literally just post one. I just like blah, 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 blah. I'll just do that when I'm bored or whatever, or I'm not on call with someone. But TikTok, it's just like I can't be bothered. I mean, I probably should,
Yeah,
but I mean, it's so hot. I swear, I'm actually gonna burn alive in this room.
yeah, I'm quite warm as well. I think we actually got record temperatures yesterday again.
Probably did. I'm gonna put this up here.
Noticing a trend actually, but global warming is not real, so
Oh yeah.
it's fine.
Well, according to like what Donald
Um,
Trump and that
according to Donald Trump and like
20
a
something,
concerning
and
amount
Jeremy
of people.
Clarkson actually. Jeremy Clarkson said that, and now he owns a farm where he had a massive drought. So
He owns a farm that heavily relies on the climate,
yeah, and he said that it's all a hoax back in like
and he
2013.
denies climate change. Well,
Well, I
when
don't know
his
if he does
farm sets
now,
on
but
fire, he'll know it's not.
well, yeah, to be
Yeah, I
fair.
mean, you would assume he would have figured that one out, but getting a bit back on track. I'm sticking to posting one display per day.
Yeah, I
Um,
saw that. Yeah, Alfie does that.
yeah,
Well, Alfie posts one
I
photo
don't
per
actually know
day.
which one's next because the order that they gave out for the displays
It's
wasn't actually
different,
the order
yeah.
that it was in. They changed it on the day. But I'm just posting them one display a day. Um, it's working well so far, I
And
will say.
if on the Instagram, on the display line Instagram, if you can't tell whose photo it is and you can't be bothered to look at the caption, if you just like click on it, I always put the person's tag on the watermark to like show whose it is. So if it's my photo, I'll tag my metric spotting account on the display line photography watermark. Obviously, if it's Joey's, I'll tag his. Alfie's. So I always do that. It's just like tradition now, and obviously me and Joey always put in the captions anyway, like the calendar date, sorry. Oh my god, the date, the location, and the photographer. Not the calendar
Yeah,
and
we
the
actually do it
date.
in different order, which
Yeah,
we only recently realized is I do calendar, then the photographer,
yeah,
then the location. You do the photographer, then the calendar, and then the location. But it's just a little bit of a difference in the posts. I'm
yeah.
sure no one would have noticed that unless we
So
mentioned it.
yeah. Anyway, getting back on track, we have the yaks. We have the three flying comrade yaks. I assume that would be, and they always put on a great show. I haven't seen them in a few years. I don't think. I think we saw them at, like Midlands a few years. No, Blackpool last year. That's where we saw them. Blackpool last year, which was quite good. So, what would you rate the yaks on a scale of 1 to 10, or 0 to 10? Technically,
I'm not going to rate them a 0. The yaks
obviously,
they're always a good one. Very easy to get pictures of because no matter the lighting conditions, they're all different colours. Is you got your choice of aircraft. If you want to just photograph one because it's the easier one to get, go ahead.
yeah,
Um, I always try and get a shot of all three from at least one of the days. Got a few shots of all three. Very good display. This was actually my tutor's favourite because on the Saturday I went with my tutor. Long story. And then on the Sunday I went with my parents, but
Mm.
this was my tutor's favourite. I'm gonna have to give it a solid 9 because it's just an all-round good display. It's got the aerobatics, it's got a bigger plane that doesn't necessarily do as many, it's got brakes, it's cool sounding aircraft, and they're
Well,
bright
you'd
coloured
hope it
as
has
well.
brakes, right? Otherwise, how it's going to stop is just going to go off the end of the runway. Anyway,
I
you
mean, it will
know,
stop eventually.
talking about great aerobatic displays, we have Rich Goodwin. Obviously, like I've showed about 50 times. There is a patch of him. Well, not him, his plane actually. Well, technically he's in the plane, right? So I don't know. His
Yeah, if you're
limited
listening to this, just
edition,
imagine a Jet Pits patch.
yeah.
That's what it looks like, yeah.
Now they have actually released more of these, but it's different because oh sugar. I'm trying to hold my fan up so it doesn't like collapse on me. But basically, the patch itself, for those who listen on Apple Podcasts and stuff, is like red, white, and blue. Like I don't know the G Wiz like pattern or basically the other one he has. It's basically like that pattern, but obviously with the GJ Pitt livery aircraft on it. But this is the limited edition one that has the red, but the unlimited edition one doesn't have the red. This is white. So basically, they just swap the red and white out. So I have a very limited edition, probably one of the rarest patches in the world, technically, just because there's only 40 of them, which is actually pretty cool. You know, at least like ones like the Polish one that Alfie got at runway 25 at Duxford or whatever. At least there's like thousands of those, bro. I have that. How cool is that?
That is very cool. I wish I had one, to be honest.
Should have bought one
But
in it.
as we're on about it, the pits, Jet Pits, it's always a good display. It's my dad's favourite, apart from the Typhoon, because it's the Typhoon.
In it.
Um, you get the sound of the propellers and then the sound of the jet engines. The thing can hover. I mean, it's gotta be at least a 9.25.
Surely, like everything can hover for
You
like
think,
a very
yeah.
short amount of time, right?
Yeah, the jet pits can hover for a long amount of time. Actually, he went off script during the Saturday's display. The commentator was very confused, but I guess he was enjoying the hovers because he did more hovers than he should have done. But I mean, I wasn't complaining. Um, he must have just been having the
Yeah.
time of his life.
So, again,
Yeah.
once again, we are changing the tempo of our aerobatic displays here, and we go back to a very cool and very enjoyable display that me and Joey both love. Obviously, we spoke to the pilots on the flight line walk on the Sunday, I believe. Or no, you didn't. Did you get to speak to them in the end? Did they leave before the flight line walk?
I don't think I did.
You
No.
did.
Yeah,
I
I
got to
didn't.
speak to them on the Friday and the Saturday, and that is the one and only Team Raven. Now, very enjoyable. I know one of the pilots in there from Midlands. He used to do the mono display team, which he obviously doesn't do anymore. And yeah, it's a really great display. So, Joey, do you want to talk us through how good it really was?
Yeah, I found that it was much better on the Saturday because they got quite unfortunate on the Sunday. It started raining during their display on the Sunday, so everyone had their heads down underneath their jackets.
Yeah.
Um, I've just got a severe alert on my phone for wildfire.
All right. Amazing. Where's the wildfire then? Are you about to like
That's
blow
the
up?
first time I've ever. Is there a wild? I'm gonna check out my window. Be right back. We
We
can pause
we
it there.
now we're keeping this on the podcast, guys. This is
Okay,
live.
keep that.
This is a live weather event. Oh, I've just got one.
You.
I've just got one. Yeah. There's a very high risk of wildfires nationally. Residents, landowners, and visitors should not undertake any activity that could start a fire, including disposable cut barbecues, fire pits, garden incinerators, or fireworks. This is the first time I've ever got one. This is a live weather event, guys. This is staying on the
This is a
podcast. This is
live
a
weather
live
event.
weather event. It's like
Live on air.
this is literally live on air, guys. This is a Fortnite live event update. I don't know, you guys won't be able to read that, but obviously Joey can. Well, Joey's got his own screen, but I'm sure all of you will actually got this at home as well. I will say
That's the
that
first time I've.
I'm going to burn the UK down. That's it. I'm starting a barbecue right
I'm
now.
planning on launching a rocket this week
Can't
or next week. Next week.
do
I don't know if
that.
I can do that.
Well, I'm gonna have a gas
I
fire when we go
mean,
to Dartmoor. Is that like illegal now? Am I gonna like get
yeah,
arrested?
you're not
I
supposed to
just can't
do that.
eat. No, no. Gas fires are different. Like gas fires are different to barbecues. You're not like allowed or
Well, then
whatever.
you might be
Like,
fine. Just don't explode, and then you'll be fine.
yeah,
But
I suppose
that's a
so.
definitely an interesting one. What were we on about? Oh, ravens.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. After that live weather, and you
we
might
were
not close
literally
your
on
curtain
about
or
the
tell
weather.
your brother to close your
Uh,
curtain because the sun has just exploded in your room.
no, that's the wildfires, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I guess so. Yeah,
That's representing all the things on fire.
it is. I suppose. Yeah.
Um, anyway, Ravens. Yeah, it was raining on the Sunday, um, which definitely didn't help. But on
Now,
the
but like
Saturday,
that's
it was
good
a
though, right? Because
very
like
good.
there won't be any wildfires, right? It'll put all the wildfires out.
Yeah, I think we need a few of them. But yeah, it was a good display. It's Ravens. It's always going to be a good display. The lighting conditions at Blackpool do not make for the best viewing
Yeah, that's
experience
kind of
of
why
it.
I don't want to go back
Um,
because of the lighting conditions. As a photographer, I am so intense on the lighting conditions. Midlands is just about okay because it's top lit, but Blackpool just being that you basically incinerate your eyes more than a solar eclipse because like the sun and stuff is like in your
yeah,
eyes. So yeah, it's
yeah.
not great. But yeah,
But
what
I
did
mean,
you
it's
rate them
the
in the
Ravens.
end?
I have to give them a 9 out of 10. I mean,
Yeah, quite high in it
it
these ratings.
given the viewing experience I had on the Sunday, I would have been inclined to put it lower, but I'm trying to stay unbiased as to the weather conditions because that is not their fault.
So we now move on to the Hawk Tour 2000, which apparently had a like quite special livery on it, being like a raspberry ripple livery, which is one of the I think testing liveries or something. And from what you were saying, obviously you didn't like it, but because it's like an RAF aircraft, obviously it's getting a 450,000 out of 10.
Oh, of
So you
course.
know,
Um, If you just in case you didn't know what liver it was, the commentator made sure you knew because he said it about 400 times during the display,
yeah,
mainly because it spent 2 minutes turning around each time. He didn't really have much else to talk about. Um, I will say I was very underwhelmed with this. It did a bit better on the Sunday, but I was very underwhelmed with the display just because all it was like 7 passes at high speed, with 2 minutes in between each one as it
in
turned
it,
around. There was much, much more potential I hoped for. Um, but at the end of the day, it's still an RAF jet, so it's a
yeah,
45 out of 100. I mean, a 10, not 100. That would make it
yeah.
four and a
Wait,
half.
what was
It's
it?
not a 4.5. It's. I'm gonna give it a 5. It
Yeah,
would have been a 4 if the Sunday not redeemed it a little bit,
yeah.
but I think we just got a better time slot on the Sunday for lighting conditions because I got better pictures on the Sunday. Um, but there was just so much more they could do with it, and they just didn't.
So, I mean, that's not a terrible rating, I suppose. Like I said, that's the same with like the Typhoon at Farnborough. Like they just didn't do anything, but obviously, praise the RAF and stuff. 5 million out of 10, because you can't diss them anymore. Because the employers will go through every single podcast and then make sure that we,
Oh, 100%.
yeah. So
Hello, future
yeah,
employers.
you're right.
I'm
I won't dish you. It's just the RAF are really stupid because like the Ministry of Defence just don't know how to run a military these days. So um,
allegedly,
well, yeah,
allegedly.
praise like what's his name, Andy Burnham or whatever, and it, savior of this country.
Well, he just issued a weather alert
Well, yeah, yeah.
for
Well,
wild.
he's saving us. He's actually saving me when I go to
He's
Dartmoor next
saving us.
week. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
he's saving you from setting yourself on
we
fire.
we now endeavour ourselves in the classical walking of the wings without actually walking on the wings. It's just kind of sat in a strap on a wing with the walker wings, or should I say the wing walkers?
They did do a bit of walking because they unstrapped themselves during the display, and
Yeah,
don't
well, they
forget the
sit on like
comments
the front
so
of
you
the
know
thing.
they do that
Oh
because you
yeah,
can't tell if you don't have binoculars that they aren't in the
or like a
same
five
spot.
thousand millimeter
Um,
lens. Yeah,
or yeah, that. It's the usual wing walkers display. I mean, it's the main spectacle you can't even see from the ground unless you have binoculars or a big lens.
in it.
The planes are cool though. I could see the people on the top. Um, Good display. Got some pretty alright pictures. Not as good a pictures on the Sunday because there was people. Um, I will get onto it later, but there was
Eight
people
foot Larry.
blocking the entire front. 8 foot Larry was blocking the entire view for everyone. I'll get more onto that later when we go on about the upper ratings not displays.
Yeah.
Um, but all round, I'm gonna say an 8 out of 10. Um, I mean, it's the typical wing walker display. They do the
You are definitely being very generous
gymnastics.
with some of these. I definitely would not rate any of these as high at
I'm
all, to
being
be fair.
generous, but the wing walkers are easy to get pictures of because of the bright colours. and they do aerobatics, kind
Yeah,
of.
I don't know. They're just, I don't know. It's just the thing is I've seen them so many times. Like it's not that exciting of a display, so I probably rate it like a 5 out of 10, maybe 6 if we're pushing it. But
I might push it down to a 7, but 7.5 is, we'll stick in the middle, 7.5,
yeah, makes
because I do
sense.
see it a lot
So we
every
also
year.
have two ratings of the same display, which is the US Fighters Day 1 and Day 2, as you said they were different. So, talk us through the differences and then rate Day 1 and then rate Day 2.
Yeah, so I didn't actually know what the US fighters meant going into Blackpool. I was hoping, obviously it wasn't going to be, but I was hoping it'd be like an F-18 and an F-16. It was never going to be.
Well, you could have
Um,
hoped it'd be like
but
an F-15 and like a P-51 Mustang or something.
yeah,
That might
well,
have been a
day
bit more
one turned up
plausible.
and it was a Spitfire, just a Spitfire. There was
Yeah.
supposed to be 3 aircraft, Spitfire, P-51, and I believe a P-47 or something like that. 2 of them were broken on day one,
Oh, yeah.
so it was just a Spitfire. It was just BBMF display, but without 2 of the main
Yeah.
aircraft in it.
Yeah, well, that's every Spitfire
Um,
display, though, to be
his
fair.
day one's gonna have to be a 2 because
Yeah,
it
sugar.
it was just the Spitfire. Um, day 2, they fixed the P-51, which is a lot easier to get pictures of than the Spitfire, um, because it's shiny. It kind of
In it.
reflects everything, and that's pretty useful for your camera, um, unless the sun's in the reflection. But I'm gonna have to give day 2 of the US fighters maybe a 3.5 to 4. Still not great because there was supposed to be 3 of them. It's not their fault, but I haven't seen the full display, I don't think. So I can't really rate it based on what it should have been. I'm just rating it based on what I saw, and what I saw was a 2 and a 3.5, 4 out of 10. So we'll say 2 and 4, which averages at a 3 for the overall display from the US fighters that I saw.
So now we change up the tempo, we turn the afterburners on, and your ears off because it's the quietest jet I think I've ever heard, and it genuinely might be quieter than like a Spitfire or something. We have, of course, the infamous MiG 17. Is a crowd favourite. And speaking of Fubar Aviation, they are actually trying to restore a MiG 21 now that they have added to their fleet. So hopefully that will be flying in a few years. It's going to be a long, long restoration process. But I mean, we can have a flying MiG 21. Who doesn't want that? And obviously, hopefully, we'll have the MiG 17 back at Midlands Air Festival next year. But I can't lie, I'm actually quite excited for Midlands Spectacle next year because if they try and change up every year. So, like I said, we had the Flying Bulls in 2022 and 2023. We had the Sabre, which is technically the Flying Bulls now, but it wasn't at the time in 2024, and then MiG 17. No, sorry, the Sabre in 2025, the Flying Bulls in 23 and 24, and the MiG 17 in 2026. So very exciting at Midlands. Obviously, Trevor and James do a great job organising the show, and you can go check out the interview with Trevor. Actually, it's earlier in our podcasting career, a few months ago, actually, almost 3 months ago now, because obviously it was in May. But yeah, do you want to take us through the MiG 17 display? Because, who doesn't love a MiG 17 other than when it's backlit, I guess?
Yeah, or the Allied forces during the Cold War probably didn't appreciate them. Um,
Well, I mean, no, because they changed side, innit? Russia was like, enemy of my enemy is my friend, because like Germany invaded them or whatever. Oh, wait, no, that's the wrong war.
that's why I said the Cold War. That's why I
Yeah, no,
said
I'm
the
thinking
Cold
I'm gonna have
War.
to cut that bit out, to be
Um,
fair.
no, it's fine. Who cares?
Yeah, well,
Um,
yeah, innit?
yeah, it's funny you mentioned how quiet it is compared to some because the Hawk actually, the first pass, if I wasn't looking for it, I wouldn't have even noticed that it did a pass. I will have the
Yeah.
GoPro footage somewhere. If I remember to send it to you, you might put it in here if you remember. But the first pass of that Hawk on the Saturday was genuinely the quietest jet fly past I've ever heard in my
Yeah.
life. The MiG 17 was a bit louder than that, still much quieter than the Typhoon, maybe even quieter than the jet pits,
It definitely
but
was,
it's
mate.
still the jet.
The jet pits is
This is the
almost
Cold
as
War
loud as the
era.
Typhoon, so.
Yeah, it's the Cold War era, shiny jet. There's not much you can go wrong with it unless you like crash or something, which it didn't do, thankfully. Um, Good display. Um, I mean, it's just such a cool aircraft. It's Fubar Aviation really do a good job with this thing. Um, I'm gonna have to give it a 9.5 it was just an all round really good display. Lighting conditions weren't as good on the Sunday, but that was just because it's cloudy and it's a silver plane,
Yeah.
and those things are the same color most of the time. Um, but yeah, 9.5 solid display.
So that rounds out our, well, your Blackpool display review. We also have some subcategories that we make up for every air show, and I assume you want crowd to be one of them, as that's definitely one of your main
Yeah.
concerns at Blackpool. So we'll start off with the lack of respect of Blackpool Air Show, I guess you could say.
Yeah, the Saturday wasn't too bad. Um, I mean, it was much, much busier, which probably meant that the people who were annoying couldn't actually make their way to the
Yeah,
front. Um, I mean, I got there at the same time on both days. On day one, I was 4 seats behind. On day two, I was 1 seat behind the very front. Um, the crowd, it's not great. On Sunday, we turned up 2 hours before the displays even started. Got near front row seats. The people in front of us have been there like almost an hour longer for some of them. 10 minutes before the display started, a bunch of people flooded in last minute and just filled every single gap between every single chair right at the front, blocking everyone's views. Luckily, they left near like before the end of the display because you can't stand up for that long unless you're like
yeah.
that one guy that ran an entire marathon in under like 2 hours
Well,
or
like
whatever.
David
Unless
Goggins
you're
or
him,
whatever.
yeah, like you're not gonna do that if you're just a guy who lives in
Yeah,
Blackpool. Um, There was some good people in the crowd. There was some people sat next to me who were just making general chit chat. One of them said, "That's a really good camera," and I said, "Yeah, it's a shame it can't see through people." And we were just laughing at the people right in front of us. Um, the group in front of me, um, the dad must have been 8 foot tall. Um,
8 foot
decided to
Larry
have
in
his
it.
sandwich during. Yeah, 8 foot Larry decided to have his sandwich during the gyro display and stood up to eat his sandwich and stood 2 foot in front of me, looking at me.
Mm,
I had a big camera in my hand, and he was stood looking at me whilst he ate his sandwich. Um, so the crowd, definitely a 1 out of 10. The only reason it's not a 0 out of 10 is because the people next to me
in
on the
it.
Sunday were making good chit chat. The people behind me on the Saturday were quite funny. They were making some funny comments. Um, they were from like Yorkshire, you could really tell. Um,
In it.
it's present in the accent. I probably have it on my GoPro footage. It's quite amusing. But 1 out of 10 for the crowd. Um, if you're going to Blackpool, try and get there at the front because people will just walk in front of you and stand in front of you. It's not fun.
So we have our next category, which is like market stalls. I don't know, like merch and stuff. So I assume it would just be the normal RAF slop. Sorry, amazingness, RAF amazingness there, with like Red
Yeah,
Arrow. Well,
it's
not Red Arrows. Typhoon, BBMF, Army. That sort of stuff.
yeah, it's the default. They got all the BBMF tent. They've got the Typhoon display team merch shop, which unfortunately I did say that I would get that patch, but by the time I went to go and buy it, they'd sold out, and the guy informed me that they sold out within 15 minutes and had people queuing up before they
Yeah,
even opened to get that patch. So Southport, I now know to get there way too early um, to get that patch, but
mine's there.
South I'm holding up my hopes for Southport. Probably need to book that soon. Um, they got the default stalls. They have pretty much the same stalls every single year at Blackpool.
Yeah,
Um, they have the Typhoon on the ground that you can go and sit in. They have the Spitfire you can buy bullets from. Uh, sometimes I didn't actually check this time, but they normally have a Hawk that you can go and sit
yeah,
in. Never done that because the
I
queue
did.
is a
It,
mile
it
long.
is. Yeah,
Uh, but as far as the stalls go, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10, just because it's kind of just the default, but the default sometimes is enough for people.
I suppose. Yeah.
You get your main events, so you get what you need. Probably would have been a bit higher if I'd have managed to get the patch. but clearly they just need to bring more to Southport. So there's a
Yeah.
note for them because they're definitely totally watching this.
So,
Um,
well, yeah,
yeah,
obviously. But anyway, I guess the overall show then, what's your overall rating of Blackpool to go on the displayline.co.uk official website, official of the officialness website that is quite official.
I'm gonna rate it a bit lower since it didn't have the red arrows. Um, because that's what most people even go to Blackpool Airshow for. Um, I'm gonna give it I'm gonna give it just an 8 flat, because it's a good air show, but it's not very different to any air show in
Well, yeah, it's just like
specific. It has
UK slop in
every
it.
default display.
Yeah.
It is just UK slop and the MiG-17. It didn't have the red arrows. It had the extreme air, which quite a good addition in my opinion. Um, they had a dodgy flag on top of the tower, which I won't get too much into. It was a flag for a
Yeah.
festival, but it had a dodgy color scheme. Um,
For a
I don't
red,
even know
white,
if
and
you want
black.
to put a picture
If
up.
you, yeah,
It's a red, white, and black flag,
it's
and there's a
not
white circle
quite
on it.
ours. Yeah, it's not quite ours. Ours has blow on it. Luckily, that kind of saves us. But yeah, think of a certain political nation in the 1930s, 1940s, and it's sort of
Yeah, it
something like
wasn't
that.
actually
Yeah,
that. It was
that color
for
scheme and
the
stuff.
I think it's
Yeah,
called the It's actually not as great because it's for a festival called the Revolution Festival, I think, or the Rebellion Festival. The Rebellion Festival, which that flag combined with that name isn't great. And
yeah,
but yeah, it was all round an 8 out of 10 show. It's probably higher than it would be because I went both days. If I'd have gone just one day, if like for example, if anyone watching this is planning on going for one day, I would
don't.
probably give it a 7 out of 10. Um, I just would rate it higher because I got both days, which meant I got both types of lighting conditions. I got bright and sunny and I got cloudy. Whereas if you go for just one day and you end up with a cloudy day, it's not great.
Well, yeah, just to be fair, you might as well just give it a 7.5 then, no? Because at 1 day, 2 day, that's sort of like a in between
I
mix of.
mean,
I mean, if we're going off
my
your personal
experience is an
experience, then
A.
yeah. But if we're
Yeah,
rating the
my
actual
experience is
air
an A.
show,
But the air show itself, if you just go one day, or just the air show itself, 7.5, because very much weather dependent and the lighting conditions are not great. And this year's lineup was okay. No red arrows once again. Actually, I don't even know if the red arrows will be at Southport. They're still stuck in Canada,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure they are.
Um,
Yeah,
hoping they get back in time. They've already had to cancel 3 air shows. I don't know which ones. I'm
Eastbourne's one
hoping
of them.
Southport. Yeah, I'm hoping they're back in time for Southport, but it definitely brought it down having no red arrows. They're there every year. The
Yeah.
iconic shot of them flying over the tower. You just can't not have those.
Well, that concludes the rating of Blackpool Airshow 2026. Stay tuned for a very hectic September where it's going to be all reviews because we have Southport, Shuttleworth Military, Little Granson, and Hampshire Festival to do, which will round off. Oh, and National Air and Space Camp RAF Syston with Alfie as well. So, I don't know. We might just wrap it up with the news on promos only, and then just not have an episode about it because I mean, it's just a lot easier to do something what like Aaron Reigns or something does, where he just does short, quick like episode things on TikTok with the news rather than making
Yeah,
a whole episode about it. So I think that's what we're gonna do, and yeah, well, I guess we're gonna wrap up here before me and Joey genuinely overheat and like just die on the
yeah,
spot.
I am warm. I am
Yeah.
very, very warm.
Well, take care, everyone. We hope you enjoyed Jerry's review. We hope, obviously, it was helpful. And stay tuned for an incredibly hectic few weeks. We won't be posting for at least 3 weeks because I'm in Dartmoor next week. Then I'm on a family holiday to Lakenheath and the Shuttleworth in Little Cranston. And then I'll be home and then we'll record. And then, yeah, so in 3 weeks' time will be our next episode. I mean, maybe I might try and send Joey some videos from Dartmoor and he can make that into a promo or something. I don't know. But yeah, unfortunately, you won't be hearing from us for a while because we are just so busy at the moment, which is why we haven't been doing promos. So don't worry, we haven't given up. We aren't quitting. It is just the fact that we have been so busy lately, and we just don't have time for this. So we hope you enjoyed, everyone. And well, unless you have anything else to say, Joey.
We'll still try and keep up with the photography posts
Yeah, we
because
do.
they're
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
much easier. Um, but as for promos, that takes time to come up with an
yeah,
idea, especially considering we're trying to. Well, I've been trying to lean less on the news promos recently because we're doing it once a
yeah,
month as opposed to every episode. If we just talk about the news, there's not going to be a lot of info about the upcoming episode in any of the promos. So it's actually kind of hard to come up with ideas to talk about, and we're always busy as well.
yeah,
Especially recently, we had a solar eclipse which I was out getting pictures of, meteor showers which I was out
yeah.
getting pictures of. You was doing whatever you were doing, I can't remember,
Well, I was
but it's
also
been quite
watching the
hectic.
eclipse. I was also watching the meteors. I have been planning my trip to Dartmoor for next week. I have been testing out the new Sigma on the wall drone, newest, latest art of the
Which
equipment,
you will not be flying at
which I
Dartmoor for
won't be.
legal
No,
reasons.
I won't be flying at Dartmoor, unfortunately, for legal reasons, as you can't fly at Dartmoor. Don't lose my fan. But yeah, we were testing it out yesterday. Obviously, we're not taking it to Dartmoor because that's illegal and stuff. But we just have it for holidays. I might, take it to, well, maybe not to Lake and Heath. That's probably not the best idea. But
Yeah,
take it
maybe
on,
not to
yeah,
Lake.
take it on
That's
some
the
sort of
worst spot.
holidays. But I mean, should we try and turn it on? Should
That's
we
the
just give
worst
it? Should
spot
we
for
just
taking
like? No, it's
FPV
gonna like
drone.
blow up in my room. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
just
try
give
that.
it.
Well, I turn the propellers on, I
Yeah,
suppose,
I mean,
but that's probably about as far as we can
on
go.
the bells on, but it might take off and fly into your roof or something.
Yeah, exactly. So we're not.
Don't
I'm
want to
not.
be starting any
Yeah.
wildfires in your house.
Well, quite exactly. Anyway, we're gonna wrap the episode up here, and I'm gonna try and get some drone footage somewhere. I don't know, maybe Funtley Park, which is where we tested it out yesterday, and get some footage because I actually do already have some, but it's like I don't know. It's just yeah. So we're gonna wrap it up here. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you on the photography and in a few weeks' time. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you then.